Hey, welcome back to the show. This is Nick on Chat Traps. We're keeping you company all the way until 1 p.m. And, it's about that time of the day for me to head on out of here. But before I go, though, we were talking about a lot about, the COP26 and all the greenhouse gases, climate change, and global warming. And one of the things, that we were talking about is, UK is going to be hosting the 2021 UN Climate Summit, which is the COP26. So UK has been chosen to host the major UN climate change summit known as COP26, and it's an event. It will be co hosted with Italy. It was originally scheduled for November 2020, but has been postponed to November 2021. And this is all due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with all the lockdowns and all that's happening. Boris Johnson, he did say his plan was to get everything, back to normal by the time June hits. But hey, that is just something that he said. So yeah, hopefully by then, by November 2021, the COP26 will be happening. And that is just something. So yeah, this is the most important climate change since the landmark Paris Agreement, which was agreed at the COP21 in 2015. So yeah, the postponement means that the COP26 will now take place after the by 2020 deadline for numerous components of the Paris Agreement. So yeah, the UN officials expect nations to continue to work to deliver their updated and nationally determined contribution, which is the NDCs, by the end of this year. So yeah, that's by the end of this year. That's the plan. So COP26 will also take on a new form, a significance now that it will take place after the winner of the 20. That's all that they were talking about, and this because of this postponement. So essentially, it is the COP26 is actually going to be happening around November. So that's the plan. The United Nations, Framework Convention on Climate Change, the UNFCCC, the UN's climate change body, holds an annual summit, also known as a COP, or the Conference of Parties, attended by national ministers and for the key summits, heads of states. So all the countries are parties to the convention, and the COP is its supreme decision-making body. So regional groupings of countries take it in turns to select a host. So for 2020, the Western European and other states, that groups of, like Australia, Canada, Iceland, New Zealand, Norway, Switzerland, the United States, they had a lot of this, going on. And yeah, they officially decided back then. It was first initially stated, back then this it was officially approved that the COP in Spain was going to be in December, basically of 2019. But COP26 was scheduled to be held in Glasgow, Scotland, in November 2020. But on April 1st of 2020, the UNFCCC, the UK, and Italian governments announced that COP26 had been postponed due to the COVID-19, and now it'll be taking place in November of 2021. That is essentially the party. So the COP basically, they help governments to set their own climate change targets, and the climate change targets of different sectors, localities, and organizations. So the climate COPs have met annually since the 1995. So yeah, that's a long time now. So in 2015, the 21st session of the COP, which is the COP21, was historic in its outcome, in that during its first international climate agreement was made, named the Paris Agreement after its host city. So yeah, the central aim of the Paris Agreement is to encourage countries to take action to keep global temperature rise in this century well below 2 degrees Celsius, and that is above pre-industrial levels, and then to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 degrees Celsius, thus limiting the further climate change. So the UK government will host this, the COP 2026, and it will take place in Glasgow from the 1st to the 12th of November 2021. And this is the first time the UK hosts the conference. So which was originally, like I said, scheduled back in November 2020, but was postponed because of the ongoing pandemic. So there's going to be over 30,000 delegates who are expected to contribute to formal events in the Blue Zone, where climate experts, campaigners, policymakers, and world leaders debate on how to make global progress on climate change. So yeah, hundreds of thousands of people are expected to attend side events in the Green Zone, a citizen meeting space where NGOs, organizations, and national representatives engage with each other and the general public on on aspects of environmental awareness, social equality, and reflections on proceedings at the COP. So why is the COP important? Well, it's important because 2020 is the year, in which all the countries were asked to submit their new long-term goals. So ambition to address the global change emergency will be high on the agenda, and it will have to finish that work that the COP25 was unable to conclude, setting out the rules for carbon market between countries. The other thing is, from 2020 onwards, like from 2021, the implementation of the 2015 Paris Agreement is going to be the key driver of international climate change. And it is also important for the UK and Scotland in particular to demonstrate what it is doing to reduce climate change and its shift towards a lower carbon, more inclusive society. So, like I was saying, one of the issues that the COP26, the summit, that they're going to have issues is because China right now is not, they're totally against the UK. And this is all just going because, especially when it started all with their being absent from the key UK meeting. So yeah, that is the meeting for that, because this was a very important meeting on climate change. It was organized by the UK, and it appears that because China is having issues with the UK about their human rights abuses, especially with the Uyghur minority, that is one of the reasons why China was not to be seen. I'm guessing they're taking it and it's leaking over to the climate sector, the climate change sector area. So ministers of around 35 countries were in the summit on climate change and development. The countries like the US, EU, India, all of them were taking part, except China. The absence was very noticeable. So yeah, the UK said that China was invited to the event, but it had not participated. So relationships between the UK and China had been deteriorating, in the past couple of weeks. There's been a lot of these angry exchanges about human rights issues. And just a couple of days ago, a week, I think ago, China imposed sanctions on 9 UK citizens, including 5 MPs, for spreading what it called lies and disinformation about the country. So yeah, that move came in retaliation for measures, taken by the UK government and over other human rights abuses against the Uyghur Muslim society. So yeah, in the Climate Change and Development Summit, which is described by the UK as a key moment in a run-up to the COP26 in Glasgow later this year, a list of invitees were published 3 weeks ago. And they were all there. Even China was given that. But however, China was not in the final list of participants when this circulated. So that's just something that happened. And China took it personal, I guess. So UK, the UK COP26 spokesperson said China had been invited and they look forward to working with them on climate change issues in this critical year ahead of the COP26. But when pressed for reasons for why they did not participate, well, what do you know? There was no comment. There was no comment from either parties. So, during that summit, though, a lot of these major emitters, the countries rather, that were one of the major emitters of CO2, such as the US, EU, India, were all there except China. And China was expected to be there because, they are a leading role in this kind of event. So not only is the world's biggest carbon emitter, but it's also, it also likes to portray itself as an ally for developing countries. And they were not there for that meeting. So that was an issue. And, Richard Black from the Energy and Climate Intelligence Unit said to have the ministerial taking place without China is far from ideal, and China is a major lender, trading partner, and diplomatic presence across much of the developing world, and will be, of course, a hugely important power broker for the COP26. So yeah, John Kerry also recently, said a while back that the logical approach of Western nations is to carve out a constructive place to engage with China on climate change. So that is something that they are saying, and however, it's not clear if Chinese leaders will be prepared to go along with this. And the UK, as the COP hosts, has a very tricky diplomatic path to steer. And that's just something that the UK has right now. Issues, ongoing rows with China and with all this, trade sanctions and a lot of these sanctions, especially on our citizens as well. They placed like 9 of our citizens, they place sanctions, and we sanctioned theirs as well. So there's a lot of back and forth going between China and the UK right now, and the situation doesn't look like it's going to be bright anytime soon. But hopefully, by the time Glasgow 26, the COP 26 hits, China will be there. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope for it all. Anyways, with that being said, it's about that time of the day for me to head on out of here and make way for my buddy Jamie, who's going to keep you company on Real Talks. And make sure you guys tune in for more on that. And with that being said, you can catch me again on Monday, same time, same place, same frequency. My name is Nick, and I'm out of here.